All right, then we'll make sure his mic's working. After 29 is
30.
all right, mic's working. Up, Muzzy, everything good?
I did. Catch me there, man.
You gotta make sure men remembering lyrics here, you know. It's only tell me these things, you know. It's not me who say so. Everything, all your season treat you and everything.
Just that bad, you know. I have no season. But
yeah, no season.
that season, particularly, it was good. It was not my season.
It's not your season.
No, I have all season.
Oh, that is something we had to get into it because you're really a man of all seasons. Eh? We go get into that. But
let me just call it. Right. So it was my season because it was season 2 of the Jam in the Junction.
Well, that's where we meet
that
up.
Was amazing.
I want to go back to where I met you originally, which was our show with Benjai in Kaiso Blues Cafe.
Right.
We were not taking the Benjai had a show during the carnival season. And a bounce. I see a fellow brisk boy moving, so he going so I trying to figure out. I say, but this man moving so brisk, you know what I mean? This man is settling down at all. But them days you have a turban and you're tied down.
I was in my turban.
So I ain't making all the face at all. And then Akins Vidal, I started to talk to him a little bit and thing, and he say, you know Ozy? I say, I mean, if I know Ozy, I say, there's nobody who know Ozy. He say, I see, I know you're doing your podcast and thing. You want to talk to Ozy? I say, yeah, you have a number for him. He say, look, Ozy right there. Me and realize it's you passing up and down going there.
Peace.
And then I learn about the Jam in the Junction on the Wednesday night. So that's something I'm continuing to enjoy. I come in there as much Wednesdays as I could get there.
I had to have you.
So that was season 2 of Jam in the Junction.
That was season 2, yeah.
So what make you come up with the idea for that?
It was a borrow, really, in terms of the name.
Right.
Because from a song by the late Brother Resistance, R.I.P., called Crucial Decision, right? Is one of my favorite songs from him, but it's not necessarily in the top 10 that people will click and say, oh, that's a Resistance
It's a B-side.
Song. Yeah, to some people, but there's always my A-side. And I always like that phrase. The name of this song is Crucial Decision, but the part that I like is when they drop, so jam in the junction, and I see, you know, you had to bring back. That's a good way to bring back a certain kind of energy inside of the Rapso energy. So,
right.
So that's how it started off. But also, it's nothing new to me to do series like that. I've done series by Trevor's. I've done series up in...
Trevor's is in the East, right?
Trevor's Edge, yeah. A couple other places too. And there was a one called The Junction. That was done. We were trying to work out the dates because the brain cell is not too kicking. But it was down at the end of St. James. It would have been just before 9/11. So that we just
okay.
Trying to place the time.
Dating yourself, I like that.
Yeah. So we used to do that down there. And I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday night as well. It was called The Junction. It was a place called Caribbean Connection, I believe it was a store. Ken Valley used to own and run that spot.
Okay, gotcha.
We had a little bar behind, in front, you used to do like local and Caribbean liquors and stuff.
Right.
And in the back, you had a little bar.
This is Ken Valley, the politician.
Yeah, you did Ken Valley. And we did that there. So if I wasn't even thinking along the lines that I'm going to try to reproduce that with Jam in the Junction.
Right.
But then I stop and suggest, say, but wait now, I do this already, you know? So, but I've been doing things like that over the years. But Jam in the Junction came from that song. And also because of the need I felt to create a platform, not just for music, but for art and writers and things like that.
Yeah, I had to tell people that it's really creating a platform because it's more than just, you have artists passing through, which we were talking about, but you have your art on display. You have several different people who will come and sell their wares, whatever they're interested in or however they express themselves.
Exactly.
But going back to your early days of doing that in St. James or in St. Augustine, was it was just to do the same, create platforms for people who had expression?
Yeah. Essentially took on a different kinds of forms at different times, you know. And it's also about paying a certain kind of respect and honor and giving recognition to the foundation of the thing, the people who have gone before, you know. So I used to do something called, before TTT and all come back, it was called Trinidad and Tobago Thursdays by Trevor's.
Nice.
TTT. The old logo and thing and whatever. And in that, we would basically play old school, but we wouldn't just normally play the 70s, 80s mixed jam that everybody just normally hear, you know, with Raise Your Hand and Jam and that kind of thing. We'd go all the way back to a spoiler go all the way back and stuff like that. And then what used to make it interesting is that we had something called the Calypso quiz.
Right.
So you do a little quiz, a multiple choice thing. So early in the night now, give up pens and paper and people sign up the thing. Little questions and thing now, based on the theme of the night. I would DJ. And at the end of the night, we'll do like a pick out. And the person will win a little prize.
Nice.
You know?
Nice.
And so that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect in terms of the open mic element of it, I did something called Magic Mondays. By Travers too. So it was a same kind of open mic concept. The Jam in the Junction have elements of that, but it's a little bit more wider in scope. Try to kind of embrace different kind of creative art forms and things.
Got you. The first time I saw it on advertised on Ray's Bar Instagram.
Right.
I saw Benjai performing there. And
Wow.
the energy was something else. By that time, you had been doing it for a while, right?
We're doing this since August last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So no season. You bring in some classes anytime.
Yeah. That was season 1.
So who's some of the people passion for season 1?
Season 1, a lot of it is what we planned, but most of it is how it evolved, right? So we had kind of tried to focus on the young writers, or not so young writers, storytellers who have things in print that they have to sell. So it ended up being that we had theme nights, obviously. So we invited poets like Darren, Sandy, Idris Salim, Ruth Osman.
Ruth Osman is a singer too, right? She's good jazz, right? And instrumentalist.
Right. Rudder at that time had already launched his first chapter of first version of Anansi.
Okay. It was
so
Victor.
He came, he read. And stuff like that. In between, we had Charlene Bailey, but I would say, I'd rather recall, you see, let me bring my files too. And
I intend to put you on the spot here a lot. You test this memory here today.
But I could say though, that we ended up season 1 with a bit of a bang because we had Charlene Bailey, we had Remy.
Right.
And it was an amazing, truly an amazing night that particular night because it was around Christmas time now. So Remy come and mash up the place and that was around the same time he had dropped the karaoke.
Of course, I see you do that.
Right. So it was that nice kind of, and that's what the thing was happening at the time because things was just happening.
Organic.
Nobody wasn't planning nothing. Like I never planned the Remy thing.
Right. No,
here, well, I could quick aside.
Yeah.
I think it was, Remy probably advised me the Monday or something like that, right? Then he said, boy, we can do it today now. I have it ready for you by tomorrow. I said, nah, boy, because in my mind, I have to plan out the Wednesday night.
Of course.
Right? I had to plan out the Wednesday night. I have all kind of graphics to do and things. So I said, we can do it Thursday or Friday, He said, nah, no problem and thing. And to be honest, I had not really spent going a deep dive into what he was doing. And I gone up on the man's site and I see, 67,000 views for Poser. I say, Remy, we're doing this today because, and make sure you ask me about the Wednesday night.
Yeah, proper promotion.
I see, don't be stripping that, man.
That's how things supposed to come together.
Then he come after that and perform to close off that particular season.
Beautiful. So, and you say most of the artists are coming through the strength. It's relationships, basically, yeah?
Well, that's the strongest part because at the end of the day, it's it is a labor of love for everybody, including the owner, Akins, who provided the space and the platform, had raised the bar for us to start and continue. And, you took a chance on the idea. And it's not a place where we charge at the door. Of course, we do a little collection after that and stuff. So I think there is a certain level of goodwill and relationships that I had formed as well over the years. But also we tried to be fair because when all is said and done, this is my job, so I'm very fully sensitive to the fact that you can't pull a man out of your house just on fun and games.
Yeah, as an artist yourself.
For the culture.
Yeah, plenty of that here.
But, so I just try to balance it up. And a lot of, I say, two things that end up happening. Some artists wanted, sometimes it happens by accident and sometimes they realize they could do that. Without come and bust a tune that they release it.
Yeah, try it.
Feel it out, feel out the thing, feel out the audience and thing. And the next thing too, and I said, is something that even when Omari performing, Omari have t-shirts to sell.
Gotcha.
So it becomes a way of generating some kind of trade as well too. When Andy Venture performed, he had his t-shirts, you know.
And he don't miss a week either. He there every week.
I mean, and I have my art, my t-shirts, and then of course the books was really the foundation of the thing. So we had a good couple of local authors providing, so
nice. Well, I fall in late. I will tell you some of the artists I see where it is amazing for me to see some of them up close and personal. Because I would have been real small when the man was in the heyday. But Crazy stood out. And I'll tell you why. Like that run up and down thing.
80 something.
Yeah, I guess so.
85, I think so. Yeah.
Well, you again, when I see you by Rays or in Germany Junction, you're running up, so you run down, so you turn on. You playing his music for the DJ. You DJing for most of them too.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I can tell you why Crazy stood out, right? I come in there now with an expectation because I came and I saw Super Blue. I saw
I see Johnny King already.
I reached late for Johnny King, but Johnny was done when he came. But this is man with catalog, songs that I love.
Yeah, talking about.
And so when I come along the road, right, as I leave home, I started to think, right, Crazy, he go do this, he go do that, he go do this.
All right.
I've never been able to predict where you send the artist because you have a way when you go in that DJ booth. You just say, Crazy, you can't forget this boy, you have to give you this. You do that with Crazy with Screwdriver.
Yes.
I forget us, I'm completely. But of course, I might be the only man. He say, and boy, Crazy went into that mode. And
yeah.
So you've been a student to this thing for
a long time. Sure, forever. Forever. And strangely enough, you bring up that because in St. George's College, right, I went there to do A-levels. And I went Holy Cross before that. So St. George's now, I tell myself, well, right, Gills. Holy Cross is a boys' school, St. George's is a mixed school. So I say, all right,
inside.
I'm going to star now. I'm going to be the proper star I'm supposed to be. So I performing to all them boy and them. So I go in St. George's now, and I entered. St. George's was unique in that sense because that's when they used to have lip sync was that thing beyond party time. So they used to have that double crown. So they had a Calypso crown and a lip sync crown.
Right.
So I enter both now. With Crazy Screwdriver.
Oh, serious?
I am telling you.
Shit.
Hair, I think the hair was cardboard or brown paper or some kind of thing. And a jumpsuit and a screwdriver. You know? Some of the teachers was like,
you don't know.
Hold on. And I think that year I won the lip sync, but I didn't win the Calypso.
Right.
I go back again the next year now. And this time you had a little group called Curry Crab and Dumpling.
Nice. Nice.
And I did a shadow with so there was an old skit that used to be on Sesame Street, Pigs in Space, where they'd pretend to be operating on this dude with power tools and saws and shit. Anyway, we reproduced that for the shadow arm. How you feeling the feelings, baby? So every time some fellas in Dr. Mask and thing, pretend and I lie down on a table and I just, so they will be like, are you feeling the feelings, baby? I go, feeling the feelings. Well, I win
from the operating table.
Win out that.
Nice.
Then boom now, I gone, I say I'm in Calypso too now. So I write a song called Young and Restless. So let's go on. My mother addicted, father addicted, sister addicted, brother addicted to the young and the restless. So this girl used to play, I think she passed away, I can't remember her name right now. She used to play piano. So coming on to the end of the song now, she started off with the Young and Restless theme. Blum, 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 da, 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 da. I say, hold on. I'm done. I care if I win or lose, but I have to leave now. I have to go and watch my show.
Yeah, I get your stories.
And I went on that too.
Well, then there's Young and Restless would have been the heyday. That was what everybody...
Yeah. It's a pretty lie. But I think my appreciation for quote-unquote the culture goes even further than that. You know, my grandmother was a queen in Guaya. She used to send for her to come and teach when they started to, when Woodbrook discovered folk. And my grandfather who passed away a couple of years back, he was the oldest Calypsonian singing in the tent at the time, the Mighty Surpriser.
Nice.
So I grew up around that. So I always say, sometimes you had to make a circle. Everybody had to make a circle back to themselves. Because tell them about some of them young boys. A young boy who, this who started playing maths for the first year.
Yeah, it's good thing.
I think I made a small circle.
Right.
Early in my life. So I was kind of frustrated that people didn't really catch the fact that what we have is so good that we had to represent locally and on the wider stage, you know?
Yeah.
So Germany Junction is just...
It's an extension
crazy, super... I mean, know?
Johnny King must have been nice. I hear it was nice originally. I hear it was nice.
Johnny was good.
Yeah. Real performer. And as a lot of classics too. But I always see you do that with artists. It didn't song super. You did it with Super too. Eh? Song like them and didn't come there to perform that bass. Hey, Super, you have to give me this. It's a refreshing thing to see.
It's for them. I think it's refreshing for them and also refreshing and a bit educational. I used to use that word in a creative context, but informative, enlightening to the people who there to know. And again, you some homework. Go check a tune from Crazy called Creole Chocolate. The intro alone is about 5 minutes long.
Yeah. That was the days for them long intro, right?
Yeah. Beaver, Carl Beaver Henderson and them had done it, right? But just the intro alone is a whole jazz suite.
Right.
So I know them kind of things. So when I call for tune...
Yeah. Off the top, right?
Them fellas are singing. Yeah.
You break city with education. I want to dive into it. Let me talk about early life. If I try to get education on where you're from, let me tell you what I come up with. I come up with Guayam, Grandy, Belmont, Tunapuna, Woodbrook. It had no end to where you from. Where you from?
Tobago, San Augustine.
When you hear Ozy Merrique, you can't pin him down. You can't pin. When I check your name, it's about 5 different spelling published all about. You see what I say? So where you from?
Grandy.
You're a Grandy man.
Grandy man.
Got you. Now you say you're a Grandy man, right? And you was talking about doing some themes for your series. I want to come to that. But your last show that you did, because you closed off the second season of Germany Junction with a show by Kali and them, which I was out of tongue, so I missed as well.
All right, Calypso Blues. Right.
I saw the clips and it looked like it was a special night.
It was.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I mean, look out for the clips.
Okay, good. Well, one of the clips,
because
you have more to come.
Yeah, because at the end of this, we're giving you all the socials and things.
Beautiful.
But I will just say that in the middle of singing, so imagine this, in the middle of singing, Take Me Home, Mohammed and Lou, Freetown, who was the guest at the time, started sing the David Rudder.
High Mass.
Yes. On the same chords and thing. So, boom now. We used to walk right across the crowd and walk straight to the stage. David Rudder. I fall down, I felt a chair.
Oh, you didn't know?
Nobody knew. I tell myself, I say, but wait now. I would have still felt the chair now. But I tell myself, ooh, this is an amazing thing that Mohammed and them did. Because I thought they invited him.
Oh, so you don't know that them don't know neither?
I don't know that them don't know. Them don't know that I don't know. Rudder, the story according to Kaffer's son is that they was by pulling to spring on them. And they was on the way home. Kaffer was taking him home and then he say, he parting because he having something by Cali. They passing by Cali and they passing by Cali. He walk up the step. He say, okay, I want to use the bathroom. So he's walking towards the bathroom. And the bathroom on this side. So he walking towards the bathroom and he hear his song start. He say, okay, I'll do that after. Walk straight up to the stage. Boom. Music start, them singing. Mohammed fall on the stage. I felt that chair quite so. Rudder started sing. And everybody's just going mad. Then you do so. Boom, I bust out 10 tears. Mohammed bust out 10 tears. Omari bust out 10 tears. Because then everybody started to realize nobody planned this. You understand? I tell myself, I feel this Kali planned this. Because the way the thing happened right on time, and I tell it on time. And that gave me that kind of encouragement to realize, well, it's probably something good at doing.
Yeah, I think so.
And to continue it as best as we could,
Of course.
So we ended with that. So I must give respect, of course, to Darren Ellis on Pan, who performed as well. He and all jumpy.
Yeah, genius, right?
The next nice part is because Kwame, Resistance son, was doing the music, DJing.
Right.
But he's also played drums. So when quarter way into Freetown set, he go on the drums. Boom. They run.
Yeah.
Pan moved to the stage. So it was a full band. They was just supposed to be Lou on guitar.
Oh, I see.
And Mohammed singing.
I see.
And it ended up being a full band. Soulfire perform. I perform. A good brother of mine named Luke. Come out of the bush. He up in the bush and man's
bring him out.
come out. You know who Luke is, right? Luke is I wanna move to the west side.
Oh,
Coast and our best ride. Because I'm tired of the east side.
Long meaning.
Fully seated on my backside. Yeah. So he jumped out. It was a amazing night.
Yeah.
And I was putting it lightly, you know.
I would
And
imagine.
so I probably a little bit frightened now. We could have topped that. So we kind of put the jam in the junction and pause for a little bit.
Right.
We trying to kind of collect our forces and
Come again.
hit them again.
Yeah, well, you have our support. And it's something that I would encourage anybody to come and take in because the performance is special. You know, I always like to see every genre, I see it a lot. And I found that growing up is not something you just see a whole lot. Maybe I just miss it. But the artist-to-artist interaction is something that I'm always fascinated by. For instance, you had Super Blue the other night, right? And while Super Blue there, I talking to Omari. So this whole thing done surreal for me already. Yeah, he's a real groupie and fan of this thing, right? And Omari is telling me, he say, boy, me and Super work together a few times, this and that. He say, and telling me, he said, I produce one of Super biggest songs now. I wonder if you go figure it out. I'm trying to figure out what. I'm trying to match up Omari age now to Super age. And I say something adding up here. What biggest song he could do? And then when he was about to sing Sundar Popo, call Omari, say, come, you produce this song. I feel like you're tapping into something there that people need to see more of. That instance.
It's called Obia.
See if you could bottle some and live with that.
Exactly.
No, but I love it. It's something you gotta keep doing.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah. David Rudder, no. David Rudder was part of your origin, part of where you start outside of the school and winning competitions there. Party time was a big part of what your next step was into entertainment.
Huge.
Yeah. I hear you telling a story about you and David Rudder. We're doing the same, was it lip syncing as well?
Lip syncing,
yeah.
We went, I took the same team from school.
Right.
And we went into party time in 89. And tell myself, you know, we could more than likely win best local performance. Because at that time, everybody hip-hopping and dancehall.
So that's time in party time, most of the music that people going up with is foreign music.
99%.
And what kind of year this is?
Huh?
What kind of year this is? Around what time?
89.
89.
Yeah, 89.
Oh,
sure. August, July, August, 89. Wow. So I went up with that same team, Curry Crab and Dumpling, same concept and thing.
Nice.
And we run through the semis and thing. Actually, I think we had actually done much better in the semis. Something went wrong. I can't remember exactly what it was. But we still end up in the finals. We run last in the finals, but we win best local performance.
Oh, nice. So you run last and win best local? I ain't like that. I don't like it.
I think we was the only local at the time. You know, I had to give respect to the two other people I think before me who had done it was Oscar B.
Right.
He had done a Brigo, 87, somewhere around that 88, 86. And then Sonal Dempster was in party time too.
Oh, well.
Yeah, a little bit before me. So you going up there with the Curry Crab and Dumpling and thing. But I find when people come in and shaking my hand and congratulating me, they're saying like, okay, well, that's the consolation. You could never win against all them fellas who dancing and the boys to men kind of style and this kind of thing. I say, let me tell you something. In my mind, I say, let me tell you something. Why not? Why can't I go up with a local song with the supreme goal is to win? We're not less than. We might be better than in many ways as well. We're definitely not less than. We start off with the assumption that we're less than then. I see, you see me on this shipping us. So I say I go do David Rudder the following year. So he had released 1990 in 89 actually. Late 89. It was on an album called Sketches. I always remember that. No, I lie. I think he released it after Carnival. I think that was his first grand attempt to come out of the lockdown of the season. So he had released Sketches, 1990. Was on that. And became a big hit. So I say, well, I'm going to do Rudder. So I get my boots. I practice my limp. I say, me alone going this time and I'm going to win.
Right.
I had some little tie-dye clothes or some kind of thing. By that time, I had a little picky dread, so I used to reach about here, probably put some little bow on it. And the neatly shaped beard was always the challenge, still a challenge for me. So this girl, of course, I should have recalled her name. She had performed, I think she had performed a Sting or something like that.
Right.
And she had the little beard. So she was a girl playing a boy now.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found out how she did it now, she used to put Vaseline. Well, powder first and a little line of Vaseline.
Right.
And chip up here from like a wig. And sprinkle it on.
So you make your own David Rudder beard.
I make my beard and things. So I'm going in the semis now. Preliminaries, I get through. I didn't think I was doing 1990 at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was doing another song.
Right.
So I'm a limp and a thing and I'm going through. Semis come now and the coup happened in July. So you say, well, it cancelled then. So the
coup happened, part time was going on?
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, I think the old prelims was already done. I think that was halfway into the semis.
So this happening in Westmore them times?
Yeah.
Always was upper level?
Upper level, but it was a day show.
Okay.
So we kind of...
It's for youths, right?
Right. So we used to they basically figured out a way to cheat the curfew. Right? So they used to run like maybe 11 to 4.
Gotcha. Yeah, curfew must be 6 to 6.
6, right. So you had to run home after that. So they started it back.
Nice.
Thank God. So by the semis now, I say, you know, I wonder if I could get actual clothes borrowed from Rudder. This is just me guessing. I live in quite long. I'd rather live in somewhere in Diego Martin or something, Petit Valley side. So I get a number for him and call him. And she did already know by then that I'm doing this now.
Okay. You know,
so I created a little buzz
nice.
in the party time thing. So I go on. He say, well, come now. So I go on my Rudder. Fine. Leave Locketa, Harima, Port of Spain, Petit Valley, traveling. When I reach, a dog nearly bite me. I bounce up a man in the corner and say, but wait, I David. I say, is David Rudder? He say, no, it's David Rudder, brother.
No, David brother.
David Rudder, brother. So he point and wait, so I go on, the dog still trying to bite me. So I go in, he say, well, yeah, what? You could get this, you could get this. I say, well, all right, cool. So I get it close. I say, what kind of mad thing is this?
So he just cool. You call him and he asks and he just say come true.
You see what I'm saying? And I end up with the original clothes because remember that's 89. And he would have been 86, 87, 88.
Heyday.
Clothes-wise and all, fashion-wise.
Yeah, of course.
I had the curve.
Mm-hmm.
So I get my David clothes now, boom, mash up the semis. Going for finals now. Rather say, here, you could get what I win with in 86 with the Yoruba symbols and the Ifa symbols and things.
That's the yellow suit, red and...
You know it. You say, but anyway, you had to bring that one back. Yes, I'm going to bring back the others.
Seriously, okay.
You know how that defense, so that you tell yourself, you say, well, you see that one, you had to bring back that one. So, he said that for the finals. So I'm going in the finals with the thing now.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you what make the thing by Cali so special. Me, I never invite him to the finals. Up.
No.
I never invite him. Boom now. It's like a wave of a whisper started to go from the door to the upstairs part. David Rudder.
In party time.
For my final. So you just walk in, watch around, going up the stairs, they put him to sit down. Well, that time I say, well, I'd win. I have no choice at that point in time. The man sit down right there. So said, so on. So there was a kind of history repeating itself. Down by Cali now.
Of course.
That was man, just magic man and just show up. So stop it now, boy. So that was the party time story.
Nice.
In a nutshell.
Well, I had to ask you this, right? Because there's plenty of people who listening who under a certain age. I ain't gonna call it number. Yeah. But when you say Bella Buzz, right? People is only think that mean TikTok, Instagram, because then had none of that. So what was building a buzz then? Is any papers and how are you getting to where rather know who you are?
If you do an interview with Alison Hennessy on TTT in the
Bella Buzz.
That is the buzz. One Alison Hennessy worth about 11 TikTok right now. You understand? Yeah. So we used to do that little route. I don't think I'd encountered Peter Blood until Kiss Kitty though. So, but some kind of papers thing went on. So it was like two little story in the papers and then people were covering it And there was nothing else to do on watch on TV on a Saturday morning anyway. You understand? You'd be so rush. That was real Young and Restless. That the youths having a nice time because it was recorded by TTT.
Yeah.
So it was already national news.
Understood. And you have a name that unforgettable. When we play Ozy Merrique, it's hard to forget. Ring, you're bound to be an artist.
I'm thinking. Ozy Merrique is my father. So he passed away.
So you're Ozy Merrique Jr.?
No, I'm Ozy Merrique now, but I was junior before. No, there's no junior, no senior. It's just one.
It's just you.
This is one. No, you know? Yeah, it's just one.
So from party time, how you reach from there? You have a buzz, people know your name.
Yeah.
And then how the Kiskidi Caravan part come about now? Because I hear in a story that say, a little birdie tell me that Kindred was supposed to be 3 people and Ozy was the 3rd.
Yeah.
How it come to that? What you doing that caused you to get picked up on your radar, Kiskidi Caravan? Or Kiskidi Records?
Well, Omari had basically opened that door, but that's a fast forward.
Mm-hmm.
So if you throw back, I say, but wait now, I can't be a lip sync artist. There's no such career in that, you know. I'm like, best I be a Michael Jackson impersonator.
Because in school you're done writing and singing songs.
I was writing and singing, and by that time I was heavy into writing poetry as well too.
Mm-hmm.
One of my first appearances I made on television wasn't even party time. Ralph Murad used to have a show on Channel 4 called Book Talk. And by that time, I had my full collection of poems ready to release. So I'll be the next Derek Walcott.
I got
you know what I mean? Yeah. So that kind of expression was always part of the thing. And then I say, I like to perform. I like to write. I love local.
Mm-hmm.
Rap so I started to write rap so on my own, just to create my own collection and thing. And I think it was 1991.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is what I want to do. So I wrote my first rap so, Conscious Beat.
Mm-hmm.
My first official rap so. I used to write in what you would call local parlance before that, but sometimes. And Conscious Beat, I took it to Resistance on the Drag Mall. Say you like it, ting. You say, yeah, some vibes. And then I say, but what do I do with this now? So even all them time, Omari and them used to be with a group. Well, he told you the story, but it used to be, that was a whole kind of Barataria renaissance with Cage and Gatorians and everybody from that time, right? And Omari and Akinde had performed in a show they had called Youth Fest. And in Youth Fest, they run on with a rap so in the middle of the hip-hop set now. I was like, what the hell is this? I in the crowd.
Oh, you did that time?
I was in the crowd. I was no part of that. Really.
Yeah, but you just attended.
I search out Omari. We sit down. We talk. We start meeting Yui.
So this is after the performance. You went on.
Yeah, I found them out and met with them, and we started to talk that Kindred talk. And around that time, I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I was still in Yui. So I didn't want to leave. I was kind of neither here nor there now. And so when they got the opportunity to run with the Kiskidi, well, the first No Compromise album, I said, fellas, you know, I go come. You know, I come in just now. And a couple of years after, the next year, I formed Homeront.
Right.
And, well, the rest is yours. Okay.
So what caused you to not end up with Kindred? What went on? You just decided to stay in UV at the time, or did you just...
Well, I was torn, to tell you the honest truth. I mean, you have a opportunity for tertiary education and this and that and the other. But what used to happen to is that I tell myself I do an English lit. And you had 1 or 2 little creative courses at the time. And then I say, but wait now. This is, I want to do the more creativity thing, but you couldn't do it as a minor. You couldn't say it was like studying the classics and breaking things down.
So what they call in the classics then is British, is European?
Then, yeah, still a large extent. But then I would tell you at the point, so I say I will stick with it because we had a lecturer called the late great Gordon Roulette. And Gordon Roulette used to introduce us to the spoken words then of the time. So that's like Okwa Nura out of Jamaica, Mikey Smith, Muta Baruka.
I see.
Resistance from Trinidad. And one day we sat in a class and spent 2 hours analyzing Jose by David Rudder. I say, but wait now.
It is your favorite class now?
Well, no, it wasn't. It was my worst class because I say, why am I sitting here? And I could be only making records.
It's true.
Why am I sitting in here? I am a contemporary, you know. In fact, a little bit younger than this dude, so I could be only doing this thing. And that was kind of, so I say, look, I done with that. So at the point, I'd said, let me stay and give it a try.
I see.
And then,
then you decide to stop studying literature and contribute to literature. I got you. I got you. Now, I had to ask you, right? A random question, but when you say, I went and find David Rudder, I find Omari, it's something like such a, like, no, you have so much access to people. You could DM anybody.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe back then it was easier to just pull up on a man and meet them and that kind of thing?
No, you had little connections and things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went to St. George's,
right.
So at certain times we would have bounced up within a circle now. So it may not have actually been me meeting him for the first time. But after I see that show.
Yeah, you had to find him.
I had to go and I had to say, well, all right. So I had to go on the road with a bag of shillings and call. And then he must...
Is he pay phone?
He must go answer and say,
yeah, because
he's
it's
doing homework
too.
now. He's doing the homework now. He could have to call him back tomorrow. Gosh. Some kind of thing like that, you know? So it was... But it was fun, though, because I remember when I tried to trying to remember who I went by. But it wasn't... It was... In the later half, I used to go by Sprang for all my old-time music. And
got you.
Used to give me, like, hard drives and stuff. With somebody I went by, but I was looking for a Chuck. Who God bless? No, I didn't want to. There's an old shadow. Fall in love again. Love is too much pain. Anyway, I had to look for that Chuck. So it wasn't Rocky McCullen. Some other collector at the time.
Right.
So I had to go. He had to blow out all the mutts and thing. Go in the thing. Then he had to find a way to sample that. And then he said, I can't sample that, but I'll lend it for you. You could only bring it. You had to bring it back tomorrow. And then I had to go by maybe somebody like a Robin Foster. And then they had to sample that. And then I had to put it on that tape. And boy.
At that point, you're listening to that music to create? So when you say sampling, you're going to use it to do something?
Yeah. There was a time I'd kind of temporary signed to Ritual Records, and I'd done 2 tracks, one called Let Them Talk and another track. Actually with this guy from Diego Martin. Can't remember his name right now. But I done tracks. I was looking to sample some old-time Kaiser thing in it now.
Got you. So this is in between. This is before you get picked up by Amar and them.
No, that time was after when I was looking for them tracks.
Oh, okay. So that's after. So the pickup with Amar, because again, listening to I had Sister Ron here, I don't marry here, and they were telling these stories. Sister Ron said, "Yeah, invite you to the Kiskity Caravan thing." I had to deliver that message in person. She said, anytime you're doing a Kiskity reunion, call her. She will fly in and she will do it, right? Documented, right? But the original album was Gage and them. It was Gatorians. It was Sister Ron and General Grant, Kindred,
and Grand.
And Grand Blue Shot Call, I guess that's a runaway record or anything. But all those records stand up to today. Yeah, hits, right? Where they find you or where you find them so that you became part of...
I used to be in and out of the studio while them fellas was recording still, you know.
Serious?
When Kindred was recording. So I was part of that whole process as well. So I used to be in there and met Chuck already. I'd already... Robert and them did already know who I was. Well, you know? So sometimes I might spit a verse here and there. But so, you know, but I didn't have a concept or a group or a plan or anything.
Oh, no
like
group
that.
yet?
Nah. And,
okay.
I think it was... I said it straight up. It would have been when that first CD come out, 93. It would have been the Christmas of 92, and they was supposedly looking for people and stuff like that. So I think I had a little footing because people tell me of the kind of pain and fear and loathing when they had to go and audition for Shock now.
So it wasn't easy?
What?
Serious?
Well, so I hear because I now realize I had a little bit of ins because I remember bouncing up Shock straight up. I bounced up Shock by Coconuts and Night. Some Wednesday or UB night or something. I think he was playing because he's a DJ too.
Yeah.
And I say, Shock, are ready? So you ready? I say, yeah. I say, I have a group. I say, me, a girl, singing, rapping, rap sewing, and I have a drummer, a man playing African drum and he mixed to real kind of conscious vibes.
Right.
He said, I come in. So we went in the following week, you know, but it wasn't a big drama because they already know who you were.
Okay.
So then we we had sang 2 tracks for them. And they had like Free Yourself. So they said, we'll go with Free Yourself. The other track was called Shouter.
So Free Yourself was the original Homefront track. That was the one that Paul on.
We had about 5 tracks supposedly. Well, we had about, not supposedly, we had 5 tracks that we were writing, that we had written and just used to perform a cappella.
Right.
With drums or whatever, right? But then out of that 5, we would have picked those 2. And then out of those 2, they picked Free Yourself as the first single.
Yeah, that's what they're going to promote.
Yeah.
So Homefront, who's the original 3? Yourself?
Yeah. The original 3, I must pay respect to Brian Kinky Danford, right? He's been a friend, accompanist and advisor.
Right.
Like a Maurice Corner.
Yeah.
But on African drum. From even before Homefront, we used to, when I was on campus, I used to go up on all them little concerts and things and perform poetry and things I wrote or sometimes just get kicks, And I used to go and check him because I used to work UWI and live right around the corner from UWI. So that has been and still is a spot by Monte Grand. We go and rehearse and write and, and jam. And so it was me and him working together on some stuff. And Jillian was an old friend of mine, but she had just come back from the States. And so I said, "What are you for?" She said, "Well, what are you for?" And then we just kind of talk. We used to actually paint T-shirts together and go and sell in all the little markets and sometimes on Frederick Street and in UWI and things. So we had a T-shirt business called Pero de Grenade, Pero Designs.
Gotcha.
Shut up. And then so we started to write, and I'll tell you straight up, she came and she says, "Ozy, I dreamed this melody, I dreamed this line." And she started saying, "Give yourself a chance, let your spirit start to dance, free yourself."
She dreamed that.
Yeah. And then I jump in with the bamba thing and then I kind of flesh out the verses and the little chant in the middle and work on the production and things like that. So, yeah. So... that was that.
So that's what they went on with initially.
And then we had the little thing and we was real under the high, heavy dashiki and thing too and thing, and so it started off with primarily she and I doing performances. Then Kinky Dan became an integral part of it. Thought it was just cool.
Right.
And then Ataclan, Mark Jimenez, Ataclan, he was not Ataclan at the time. I had known Mark from seen him around on Frederick Street, seen him in parties. He used to have long plats at the time. And used to sell bags, I believe. And he mentioned to me, he have a Midnight Rubber style. I said, thing. I said, "But we done record already, Dan." You see, and I die nothing, And he had known Jillian as well, too. I think both of them used to model with Richard Young.
Right.
And we hook up. And I said, "Well, all right, cool." I say, "What to do? Before we record another song, the little chant in the middle of Free Yourself, you go run in and do that." And then the three, it ended up being 4 of us, officially, really.
Right.
We go run it hard, and we run a good couple of shows with that unit. And then that didn't quite work out.
No?
So, no. Then, we kind of went our separate ways in that sense. And children started to do one thing, Well, Mark went on to do amazing things as Ataclan. But then Lisa Romani came in, kind of mid-local tour, mid-Kiskidi tour. And so the 3 of us ended up being the proper Homefront, I don't say proper, but the one that a lot of people...
Yeah, that's the one that people know.
The visual that people recognize. So 3 of us went to New York, Miami.
Ataclan on board that time still?
No.
He would have left already?
Before we did Jump Started.
Oh.
That's before we did the Carnival tracks, Boom Generation and Jump Started. And Rolling.
Okay, so that time Ataclan not in home.
No, that was looking back on it now, it feels like it was like at this big long era.
Yeah.
It's like all of that happened within like about 4 or 5 months.
Really?
Well, after the tracks got released like in May that year.
Yeah, until then.
93. And then our tracks got released first because they thought the rap soul wasn't really the big thing. I wasn't the Dan It Up and the...
Oh, they wasn't pushing that?
crowd ball out for me and stuff. So they say, well, technically they say we probably needed a bit more push.
Oh, okay.
So Kindred had Can You Take It? And so that was like May. By June, July, we were in Laukata, Maloney. July, we in the Savannah. July, we in Brian Lara Promenade. Then end of July, August, we in Tobago. And all of that, and by the end of August, the tour was over.
Yeah.
So it's, but looking back at it now, that's so much.
Full, you see.
Watch me, young and notice to it. So it's like,
you're going.
I was telling somebody, I almost like he was a proper asshole at that time too, right? But
that's the story behind my group.
yeah. I think I put the blame on me.
You and everybody good now. I see you and Ataclan perform for the Kiskili thing. It was nice to see.
Spring chicken again.
Yeah.
Water under the bridge, you know what I mean?
They say it is right. I run out of time or run out of energy.
Exactly.
No, but the impact of that was felt. And it's really nice to hear these stories from you guys because the reaction to people when Sister Run came here and say, well, I do the No Compromise album, but I was never on the tour with yourselves like Homefront, Ido Rankin and Superchild and them.
Already, yeah.
Yeah, is that a little bit of revisionist history going on there, because people tell she lie. So you could come and confirm that.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, nah, I know I see you in the shows and things.
Mandela effect,
right? She said, I was living abroad. Yeah. And that feel that way now that you tell me that about Ataclan, because I felt as if, I jump-started on them things.
Well, I was in it, and I said it felt like it happened over like a 3-year span or some kind of thing. There's so much intense emotions involved,
I would imagine young, yeah?
Yeah.
So let me talk about Jump Started now. At that point, you're writing the whole song, you're writing for the group.
Yes, I was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the idea there? How you come up with it? Because it's something that's so relevant up to today. I see you sing it on with Remy.
Yeah.
And the reaction, you see the reaction on social media, right? Yeah. No, it's no generation that can connect with it.
Yeah, that song just would not go away.
You want to go?
No. Again, I've come to terms with that as much as I've come to terms with other things, It's like a bugbear at startup with it. It's like an irritation. Like, come on.
So much artists, when you talk to them, the song that everybody loves is the one that they felt a performance.
I love it now, though. But
all right, nice.
See, but that typical artist thing, now. I say like that, but listen to this.
Of course,
this has more oomph.
Of course. Well, you say you went and dig up some shorty songs that nobody ain't know, so that's in here.
Exactly.
You're looking for a certain amount of depth in your song.
Yeah. So, our rolling start, boy. Well, it have certain boroughs in it.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious borough is that around that time it had a guy called Out in Foreign. I think his name was Sadat X or something.
Right.
He had a track used to go question, why is it that every time that
was almost the whole track, right? So it's just talking.
Oh. So I say, if I start a tune with question, and the whole premise of truck shutting down was very current in our young imagination at the time. It used to happen every year. And by that time, I went in town like 3 or 4 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But bet your bottom dollar, at some point in time, you're following some truck and it shut down. So I had to stand up there for an hour and a half. People had to try and fix it and things. I say, okay, that's a good metaphor then. And this is the opportunity that I hardly get to tell people. It started off with me trying to motivate almost in the same vein as give yourself a chance, but in a carnival space. Meaning that we got to start back rolling, on the right track. Pick yourself up and move to, like, our old man say, them young people crazy. Oh, they're getting on so damn lazy, but the music create a frenzy. And the reason remain a mystery. All we know, we pushing the music into the world, using the power inside the soul to make sure we start back to roll. So that is the full metaphor. But then we started party down. So we say, well, like, jump started. That is a dance. Push started. Okay, that's a dance. And hand on your bumper. I say, all that is the dance. All this still in the chalk zone. I think then I say, Ozy, finish this whole song without using the word wine. Yeah, why are you giving yourself extra work? Don't ever use the word wine, but make sure people whine.
Yeah.
See, hand on your bumper, put your back in it. Never, so you listen to that song and never see wine.
But it's a hell of an instruction to wine.
Yeah. Hand on your bumper. And bumper went and take over the world after that. All Barbados and all them places.
Nice. Yeah, the metaphor to the bumper and the truck.
Yeah.
Don't say it like it's obvious, you do. That's a hell of a thing. But now that I listen back to it, I mean, the motivational part in it, there, it really is.
Yeah. And I think what is end up happening as a writer, especially in your writing inside of a dance space, is that, you know, you had the motivation first, you know, and then you had the hooks.
Mm-hmm.
And then at certain times, you're trying to write to suit the dance, and the hooks take over the motivation, and the entire motivation is lost. People have because it might have been deep, or at least not so obvious in a song like Rollin'.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody even catch. If you think Rollin' used to give me problems, I had a track called Fan Polori.
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
What was the problem?
Boy.
How it go, remember?
I was working with a producer at the time, and I think everyone was looking for the Rollin' part 2.
Okay.
So I think I went like 2 hooks too far.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time that happened now, people lost the fact that the idea is that this couple selling Polori around the savannah for carnival. A couple, and they're trying to build a business and stuff like that. But the woman, there's a man and a woman, and the woman saying, you know, look, people having that time. Why I doing commerce? You know, why we had to be hustling? I could be jumping up in the band. So she says she could make 1 rounds around the savannah and come back and help him sell. But she say, while I go and make sure somebody found the Polori now.
With you.
Nobody got that.
Really?
Lord have mercy.
It is a nightmare for poets.
You know, because I tell myself, you know, it's about that kind of urge and sometimes, you know, the little stress.
Yeah.
You know, the relationships is hard to go through. Yeah, because you're trying to build a business and people having a good time and you days sweating with a cool pot and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she said, I will just take 1 round.
Yeah.
And come on and jump with her band and come back around.
Mm-hmm.
But while I'm gone, found my Polori.
Yeah. That's not too strong.
Too strong. I'm telling you.
All everybody want to hear in that is fan Polori.
Yeah,
Man waiting for that part to reach.
Yeah.
So that's the issue with Rollin'. People didn't get the depth of the song.
I think it's as a writer, and I think I've evolved a little bit too, because I mean, I realized, it's not about writing, it's a song.
Yeah.
So I need to find different ways of balancing, you know, the messaging and the madness and things like that. So,
That is fair.
you know?
No, you say you're not writing a book, right? I want to talk about a book you walk with today.
Yeah.
You walk with a book here named Towns and Villages.
Yeah.
This is Michael Anthony.
Yeah, this is my new maxi book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reading that and Hardy Boys.
Hardy Boys.
I just
what
pick
you
up
say? You know long meaning about Hardy
I
Boys.
just pick up thing and say, well, I reaching in tongue, whatever. There's a good 2 hours an hour I was reading.
All right, you can take it.
So I picked this one up now, and this is a whole Guayagari man too, my man.
Why you say 2? Because you say you're from Grandy. This is why this book's so fascinating to me, right? I want to tell people where's the chapters in the book, right? When I pick it up and I pick up the contents page, which is usually the furthest I reach in any book that I pick up. And the contents say, let me see if I could find it. Arima, Aruka, Blanchishes, Kaiwal, was pronounced that right? Carnage, Cora, Cedra, Shogunas. I only know the first thing I look for is if St. James there is not, but it's part of Port of Spain. And I find it so fascinating that you reading a book like this now, especially against the backdrop of me trying to find out where you're from and can't come up with a definitive answer. So you say Guaya 2. You're from Guaya 2 because you tell me Grandy.
Yeah. Okay, so let me, my mom family from Manzan.
Right.
Manzanilla.
Mm-hmm.
My father family from Guaya.
Right.
So them come together and end up in Grandy.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole East Coast is where the roots still exist, you know?
Right.
And when you think of this book now, is everybody know Michael Anthony as the fiction writer, Green Days by the River and in San Fernando and things like that. But he also has done these amazing books dealing with kind of Trinidad history that people are not even familiar with. And it's not the first time I'm reading it. Just pick it up the other day and I said, let me go through it again. But the magical thing about reading this book while in a maxi,
Right.
you're reading about Tanapuna in 1845. and you're driving through Tanapuna and you're looking around and you're saying, but wait now. Wait, hold on. All here was just sugar and bullcat and, and you seeing the visual in your mind now. So I know that I think there's a particular reason I'm going through that now, because I think it helping me to see where we live on a different line, at a different kind of perspective. So like before I come and meet you now, I kind of went over Sawa.
Yeah, we meet up in Sawa, right?
Yeah, we bounce up in Sawa.
Also, you can't get no horrors and men and get your metaphors, you know. You want to kind of hide it, understand that this is normal people you're creating for. But it's a hell of a connection, yeah, because you coming through the bus route and half the places that written in this book.
But I think I have a little bit of a skill to kind of humanize the thing too, because I was telling about another story, you remember, just now?
Yeah, tell me.
So in one of Michael Anthony books now, he talk about this guy who was going to a cycling competition in Curacao or somewhere on that side. The details may not be proper. And he ended up at the bottom of a ship, either a British ship or a German ship, with he on the bicycle. And he down there in the dark, he down in the hull. And unbeknownst to him now, World War II start. And they call for the ship and tell the ship, okay, party start, you need to turn around now. Come, drop what you're doing.
Yeah, we're going to need this ship.
We're going to need this ship. So this poor fella end up either England or Germany, but I really think might be Germany, with just he and the bicycle alone. And had to spend the whole World War somewhere where nobody knew who he is and all this kind of thing.
It's a fresh start in our World War.
So besides the whole history and the background and thing, I say, but wait now, that is the human story. Imagine this man. Imagine you are that guy down inside this dark ship and you walk up and see sunlight, you on, pull out your bicycle and say, you're going and win a little medal in Curacao.
Yeah. Unimaginable. Yeah. What the hell is life like at that point in time when you get that news?
Exactly. So he's have these nice little anecdotes that is really humanizing thing too.
Right.
Yeah,
so you're drawn towards this book because you casually say down here and say, well, among some married them in Barataria, when they go Martin, you seem to be fearless in your journeys. Wherever you get a call in your head in there.
And being semi-famous is the best you could get to in Trinidad. It used to kind of affect me in a type of way, because I used to like to move. I remember
on the low.
Yeah, sit down and watch people. Like too much people watching me. So I like to sit down and, watch people and thing and observe and write background stories on people and stuff like that. And I guess I said thin line between fearless and stupid. Yeah. Take some kind of chances, live some kind of bad man thing, just live certain places. And I say, yeah, we're going on. At time a lady tell me, she say, good friend of mine, she said, an apartment for, I say, well, I go a block it. Yeah, she says, yeah, it's on Nelson Street. So I tell myself, oh, plannings, boy. Okay, let's go. When I do so now, it is a building like on the edge.
Right.
Between the Panyard and where the planning starts. So it's 2-story building. When you go on upstairs, it's a 1-bedroom, black and white tiles, bathtub. I see, but wait now, I'm in the penthouse. Yeah. That's just a small little story, yeah.
But you seem to be you're going. You're on the move.
Yeah.
It's just like when I see you by Cali that night, you're on the move. You make
right,
it.
True. Right, true.
So I had to ask you, because as a man who went UWI, right? I had a story I always tell people. I went to undergrad and I do business at the time. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was first accepted in UWI to do Carnival Arts. That was the name of the program. Yeah, I applied for business, but my grades wasn't good. So they tell me, you accepted, but you do Carnival Arts.
Right.
And I remember telling my mother, I said, girl, I get accepted to do Carnival Arts. She said, Corie, I can't draw a straight line. You going to a Carnival Arts thing. Yeah. Now that I'm doing this, I feel like if that was a calling, I might have missed it. But I catch it back. Yeah. But I finished the degree in UWI at the time, and all of us was applying for masters. All my partners on them said they're doing an MBA. Now, I was the least of the apostles, and them fellas bright. All of we apply, but the thing about me is it's kind of similar to you. You see, anywhere we work offering, I work it. So I working since I was 15, 16. So one of the issues was them fellas had the grades, but they didn't have the work experience to get into do their masters. So I remember applying, and then I alone get accepted for masters. Well, no, I'm frightened because I know me no master nothing, and I need them to pass any course I do it. So I come home the day to tell my mother I get accepted to them days. It was UEIOB, Institute of Business. I say it was Tuna Puna Pajit, right? Yeah. You know everywhere in Trinidad. So and I come home to tell my mother that girl I get accepted, but I don't want to go because I'm waiting for my partners and them when they go work and they go get eaten, right?
Yeah.
And when I say I get accepted, my mother thinking about in tears and hug me up. I say, oh God, wrong person, boy. Because I cannot tell she I want to go. And I call my father now. I say he's a more reasonable man. You know, my father, a young fella, I say, boy, here we're going on. I get accepted and that thing. He said, boy, the hell me didn't want to go and think of it. No, I had to do my masters, right? So I always wonder, like, what is it like for you to go and tell your parents no to UE and yes to Homefront and kissing the caravan?
That's funny.
What is it like? Your parents were supportive?
They never met my mother.
No.
Yeah, she was there a couple of nights. Well, my mother is an amazing, just an amazing. That's all she is, because she grew up, and interestingly enough, though, she made certain choices in life. Obviously, she had kids young, got married young, but she was bright as a bulb, and I was like first batch or second batch in Northeastern College in Clarion Grande, right? And she picked up sewing. And, well, you know, she's proper designer. She has gone 3 years, take care of 6 kids, and had little jobs here and there. And I still don't know how this woman had done it.
Yeah, right.
You know, but she picked that creative road. And I think with me, I think there was always a healthy or unhealthy degree of skepticism with me as a child anyway then.
Okay, I got you.
So I don't think they were particularly surprised. You know, they might have been, this might be a bad idea. You know, you're sure you want to do that and stuff like that, you know. But I was performing Paul Keen's Douglas skits in primary school. Singing Calypso I went to SDA school, so I couldn't really sing no Calypso there.
They were singing Calypso.
Yeah. Come up the road, sing Calypso every year in Holy Cross. Writing, drawing, creating, jumping off the roof, you know. So at time they say, well, this boy gonna be an engineer. So this man was passing around selling with a kind of component toy system where it was like for ages 13 and up. I was like 7. They say, you bright. So they buy this thing for me where you could technically build a radio by all the different, you know, the little modules and things. Like a kind of pop in something now. Well, I take out that engine and make fan. I think I make a kind of pseudo race car.
Right.
And I don't know, I think it had some little wrong ball bearings and stuff. I picture that. So that was a lost cause, you know. But the thing about it is that I think why they thought that would have been what my thing was is like, they have a little transistor radio. I opened that, take out all the parts. I want to see how it work. Whether I put back the parts correctly or put them back at all is another question. Yeah?
But you'll take it apart.
But I take it apart. Says, that boy's going to be an engineer.
Of course.
I just curious, you know. I just want to know how the thing working from the inside.
Yeah.
After that, I good.
Once you figure it out, you're all right.
I good. I need to know nothing else.
So by that time, I suppose they know they have a son who interested in the arts, because that time you're drawing and painting and stuff already.
By that time, I was already painting t-shirts, going on the road and sell it. Sometimes I used to do business with her, actually, because she would make t-shirts. I'd go on the road and sell it. Sometimes she'd make her outfit. I'll paint on the outfit. So they knew that was my inclination. It probably just smelled like that long time.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't really a big... It was a little bit. My father was a little bit more. He was like quietly skeptical. Like, he's that kind of cut. He was that kind of cutty kind of guy. Like, really?
That's it.
Yeah, no. But we can get along after that.
Nice. No, I have a kind of template and a formula for this podcast, right? Where I put people in different brackets in my mind. Maybe it's a UE thing, right? With all these other courses. But I say, all right, well, I have an artist this week. I have a performer here. I had Ben Gaia last week, amazing sculptor, you know what I mean? And then I have a business person when I had Conrad here. I don't know where to put yours. You're creating a little bit of an issue here for me because I'm feeling like every time we reach a certain part, I want to go back to the start and where it went. Because the business part, outside the art, and we get to the art too, because you walk with a book here I want to touch on, but you seem to have always had the entrepreneurial drive. That's from childhood or where you get that?
I'll tell you, I think my mom has, I really think, well, her side of the family today on this shoot. My father obviously had a strong creative foundation as well. But my mom, I mean, my aunt now, who live in Manzanilla, she's basically the mayor of Manzan, you know, she doing her thing. But my mom, you know, I get big enough to call her Kamsin. Kamsin is the ultimate problem solver.
Right.
Yeah.
Mayor Manzanilla.
No, that's my aunt.
Your aunt. Okay.
But my mother, she is the ultimate problem solver. There's not a problem. In other words, then she see a cup, and she at no point would I have ever remember her saying, you know, there's no ice in this cup. You know, as a poor example, but just trying to say, we were making a joke the other day. How to survive now? I say, if you're making you have nothing in your kitchen to cook, but you have some split peas and you have some flour. You can make some dumpling and split peas, dumpling and lentils. And we used to have this joke that you could put a piece of pigtail on a string and just dip it in.
You get flavor.
Get a flavor, shake it out. Put that back and put that away for next time. That's my mom. She would, not literally, obviously, but
yeah, she's fixing it.
Yeah. She's a fixer.
But you too, you recognize that, yes?
Yeah, well, right.
Okay, good.
Okay.
You see where you get it from.
Yeah, understand, exactly.
So the art and thing, you're in so much different areas. I starting to understand why you have no season, because you're in so much areas of creativity. It must be a most comfortable space. Like, I like to ask performers, where they're most comfortable. Is it in writing? Is it in studio? Is it in performing on stage? Where you feel?
My pen on a paper is dry pen on a paper. So it means that if I have an inspiration or something, right? That pen on a paper could turn into 4 lines, or it could turn into 4 lines in terms of a painting, right? Or a sketch or some kind of thing. Then you had to add music to that, and then you might have this and that and the other, and then I had to have meetings with radio stations, and then things had to get complicated. That, but for the last, I'd say probably even 15, 20 years, painting has more or less been the center. So I kind of now starting to come out in a bit of a light in terms of performances, and even if it's a remembrance of the things I've done before. But painting is, you get the idea, or you work on an inspiration, or you follow your path, put it together, you show somebody, they say, hey, that's shipping it. You say, all right, cool. Show the same painting to another person, they say, oh, this is the most amazing thing I've seen. You know, I say, all right, it costs XYZ, boom, 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 you do the exchange, and you go home. Music right now, at least music from where I started, which has been a recording artist, recording and releasing music to the world, that's a much more complicated exchange now. And why I get to realize something too in the Wednesday night, because I don't know if you realize the times you've been there, is that I would play this mix of certain tunes. Some of them, not necessarily the kiskity ones, are the popular ones. I play tunes that I know and certain other heads would know that man work on and release 10 years ago, that never get the kind of radio forwards that would have made everybody else
love it.
But by the second or third time people hear it, they say, but wait now, it's a new tune. I say, I mean, that now release.
Not
my tune. Yeah, because it's new to them,
I suppose.
You dig? And I get to realize that is like reclaiming that kind of independence of distribution, because distribution, broadcast,
of course,
people just think broadcast is radio or even YouTube or whatever, but broadcast in terms of having live bodies in a room, you have a couple of hours on a night in a club, so that's the kind of underground goal at that spot too. So I just play rhythms, I just play tracks from people, and they go like, "Oh, this bad boy, this bad. Who sing that?" And I could most of the time point out, I say, "Yeah, look, that fella, he sing that."
Yeah.
Because,
And you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, as you take with it, right? Because I want to get into your book you work with today as well. When I say your book you work with that was written by Michael Anthony, but the one that you write, I want to get into.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I want to ask about your find a space to create where the legends could be almost. I like what you say in terms of telling people it's a new song. It's new whenever it's new to you, right?
Right.
And you bring the legends there. You almost give them a nudge to perform some songs that people like me would appreciate or miss or might not ever heard before.
Right.
And because you do the same thing with Oscar B. He and all seem to be almost like, we find that, does he? You know what I mean? He have energy on his own.
Yeah.
But in the midst of that, you create a space for artists that maybe nobody would have heard about before, don't know at all. And I find some gems listening to the Wednesday night. There's some talent in this country that's going underappreciated.
You hear some of the younger guys doing this like more straight up soca.
Yeah, all kind of different things. Soca, spoken.
And
them men and them, when them get a mic, it's just some men that they hold that pavement.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I was surprised because I was like, who's this fella? I never heard about him before. But,
so you're just giving the space. So that come from the same open mic thing? That's what you're trying to recreate?
A good bit of those guys came because Atkins kind of know of them and stuff. I know Chenko long time. I do music with Chenko, but the other guys, you want to do the bygone tune and whatever. I don't really know them like that.
Right. Yeah, but you bash up the place.
Yeah. Let's try.
You know, it's so funny that just to give people the visual, there's another band next door to Raise, right? You ever realize it's just draw the audience?
Yeah.
All right, good. What's you know? What's you know? And sometimes the newest artists who, you know, they yeah. I want to thank you on behalf of them, because I always feel like there's a limited amount of spaces for very new artists in Trinidad and Tobago. That the radio being the most limited of them all.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing spaces where they come in to perform.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's an important thing because I had Omari, one of the most profound things I hear Omari say, I always repeat it in my mind, is like, performing a song that nobody don't know and getting them to move to it. You were telling me that about KMC where you say, listen, I'm coming through, but I want to try some of your tunes.
Yeah, try some new stuff.
Yeah, so it's nice to have new artists there that give in that space and get introduced to them. I love to see when, you know, I lived in Jamaica for a while, right? And there was a lot like that. You would line by a normal pool hall.
Yeah.
And you see a youth man come out and he sing a tune and he thank everybody and he gone. Yeah. And then that youth man turns out to be Sean Storm. You know, it happens a lot there. They have a system, maybe just bigger. I don't know how lead into it, but there's a little bit more tolerance by the crowds to take in a new artist or what they have to say or what they have to do or how they express themselves.
I can see that.
Yeah, but Trinidad tolerance might be low. I don't know. Sometimes, but you create something on Cipriani there that people listening when a new artist comes.
It's take I don't know, but like I used. That's feel talking with it. I used to be much more hasty because sometime I did, and I played some tunes, whatever. I now start to play from my hear some with the crew lineman upstairs. You say, "Oh God, DJ, run the crowd reach."
Yeah,
I say cheese, and it just like, I want to do this. So I'm going up now, and I apologize. I say, well, it's really having a live show tonight, and this is what we do. I say, but you can make some selections and make some requests, and I'll try to accommodate it's a birthday thing and whatever. They say, wait now, use Ozy Merrique.
You can't go under the radar.
The next man say, but wait, we'll go with his neighbors and lock it up, boy. I say, yes. So if I did go aggressive now, would it be a different turnout? But the greatest part of that, I think it was Remy. That night Remy had performed. And Remy, when they hear Remy start to sing Mr. Santa Claus and this thing, they run downstairs. You really call down some of them, pick them up, they wind down to the ground. You understand? They had the best time. And they leave. So the point I'm making is that sometimes the host, or whoever that host is, had to kind of sometimes make that extra effort to you bring them in now. And that's why I like to do the mixes now, because I will do a mix where I will do, let me just say I do two Marshall. Right. Marshall. And then boom, I drop a Andy Venture or I drop a Skeeto or somewhere in between in the mix. They may even realize what I'm doing. By the time they reach to that thing, them done dancing already, So things like that. So as I say, it's also the responsibility for the people who put anything on to provide the platform, yes, but also to kind of pacify
Of course.
Trinidad as you say that. It's like, hey, oh gosh, 5 minutes here time. That happened with us. We was trying to show a film. Yeah, there wasn't hearing that.
Yeah.
Not on a Wednesday night when they're drinking boys. No?
Yeah. People had done bad already.
You understand? Yeah.
No, but that's good that you're doing the work to sensitize. I mean, you know, you're softening up the crowd, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll wait you. So the book you do, I was taking in this book, and that's part of your Wednesday nights as well. You sell the books, your paintings, and so on.
Right.
So you walk with a book and a painting here, which I
Yes.
appreciate a lot. I want to start with the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
The book seemed to be describing some of the paintings I would have done over the years, yeah?
Actually, that's more true of the other one,
Mm-hmm.
the first one.
Right.
This is like this is how to put it, boy. This is like if we growing up, well, me and I said I can't really clock your age yet.
Mm-hmm. Good.
If we if me growing up, if we had internet, this would have been Facebook post. Yeah, kinda. And I've even thought of it like that before.
I'm with you.
But I will say it's like, you know, the experience of growing up in a certain kind of period in life, and that is almost things that we never really talk about, and there's no reference nowhere except in our minds and our memory, and some of us is just erase that.
Of course.
It's trying to act like something else, you know. So there's like a lot of like Dead Man's Hill. You have a minute?
Yeah, with you.
So it had a hill coming down from Calvary and Arima, right? Where I went to school, Holy Cross. Well, technically there are 3 hills. 3 access points. You could have come straight up from by the Downhill Church, bend the corner and coast up the winds to school. You could have come from by the Wassa station on the eastern side where Suck Tongue Sabrina used to live, right? Stop by Boss Far Pie and wait till they get to school and eat one from Miss Furman. Or you could have come up on the cemetery side. The cemetery side had one steep Noah's hill that seemed to go straight into a graveyard. No lie, and people used to roller skate down it, yes. Now at the bottom of the hill, Harris, R.I.P. used to live. Harris was my best brethren. Harris was gangster with a love of literature and mampies. To say Paris was a kind of idol, to me, is an understatement. A way to get through with the girls' style, and most important, a house mostly to himself most of the time. And creative ways for you to get into mixed sex schools for Christmas parties and such, pretending to be actual students. But that is part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Part 3 is the lady used to live next to him, who used to pee on her back step. Her name was Splash Out. True story. This is about hill number 3. Hill number 3 was for going down, not coming up, unless you live right close to the base. What make young folks feel they could roller skate down that hill escaped me until I was challenged. We never even get the big wheel skates. We got the white ones with the skinny wheels. It was like the butter bullet of skates. So see me standing on top of that hill now and see the outline of tombstones down in the cemetery and knowing I awkward as F with some shit skates. And I say, you see me? I wasn't even prepared to skate downhill 1. I take them off and put on our slippers, yes? Next thing I hear somebody try it and dead, or broke 17 bones, or hit the head, or end up a vegetable. Wasn't nobody from my school. Truth is, may not have even happened to be, may not have been anybody at all, but we were all told, and many still do. Tell the story as if someone skated down the hill straight into the grave. Dead Man's Hill, 1984. I just read that one for now.
Who's Sabrina, you say?
Suck Tongue Sabrina.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Names were changed to protect them. That's not her name.
She's still around?
I just a bung she up now and then. But you're shorter, yeah.
Every village needs a Suck Tongue Sabrina. Come on, where's that village, you know? So the theme behind the book, because you have several paintings on the pages of the book as well. Those are your paintings, your creations. Yes. And so it's not describing the inspiration to the paintings. The paintings is unrelated?
It's not completely, because for the shadow track, for the shadow track, it's like I matched some of the paintings to the works.
Got you.
Right? So I have a story called Me, Shadow, and Nipper Scotch. So we have the shadow.
With you.
You think?
Good.
Kind of shadow painting there.
I see.
So it's not a cat dog kind of association. And I have some rap lyrics here, which is what make this book a little bit different from the first one. So like Nigerian money and things like that actually have like verse and chorus.
I'm with you.
You know?
So you make the books available. Your paintings still available for sale, or those things that sell already, or things that you have?
You know, as you're saying that, the next book I wanna do, I really wanna make it more of an art word book. This was, as I said, not really structured like that.
Gotcha.
But this new collection I'm doing, these 4x4, I just kind of call them smalls.
All right.
You know, and I come with a nice little easel too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're on the shopping channel now.
Yeah, let me go. What's the price? What's the price? Now what's the time?
Yeah, again, this fan cool $250.
Nice.
Right? Signed, authenticated. But again, back to what you were saying now, this series is a nice series because it is always kind of get a quick sense of completion when you finish a small piece. You're like, yeah, you're done. And you move on, yeah? And also it helps to like people who want to try a the collection of paintings because, you know, so it's a nice price. And I've started to write some work associated with each piece. So when I reached like about 40 pieces, you know, something happened. So
I'm with you. So galleries and things, that's things you did before, like displays, like you do
I did my last major exhibition was in 2019 before the COVID. So that kind
of course,
everything kind of went.
Yeah, we had to figure out what the world is now, right?
Yeah. And then I did a small show, a 4-day show, at that same art studio, art gallery on Cipriani there.
Okay.
TAW, Think Artwork.
Oh, just further up from there.
Yeah, further up. Yeah,
got you.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna do an exhibition this year. We'll see. But I think this is the perfect opportunity to make this particular pitch because all the nice talk and sweet talk we talking, Corie. This thing about mathematics that we don't really know how it does work. We just do it. And there's a point where we reach where we really can't continue doing it without some help.
Right, of course.
You know what I mean? So if everybody, you know, well, I guess we'll have all the contacts and things. There's a GoFundMe gonna start as well. But we need the support because the series is primarily essentially a free to enter, you know, a small intimate vibe space. But just to cover some of the costs, you know, make sure the artists can get something fair.
Yeah, of course.
So we're trying to raise those funds now in a very serious way. Right? So 1-800. No, that's not the number.
1-800 help. Listen, what I will do is when you have the GoFundMe, send it for me. Yeah. Let me put that in the episode description because I want to make an appeal. I have a consistent among the listeners who listening to this every week for the last 3 years.
Yes.
And it has always been about you. In whatever form you come in this culture, it has always been about, no matter what you're talking about, it always comes back to who we are as a people.
Right.
So if we have people who serious about it, and I mean, I've given him a word that this thing on a Wednesday is something I would pay for, and I would extend it to say that anything you do is something I would pay for because you ain't leaving here with that painting or that book. So let me talk to him about the rest, right? But the thing is, I feel like it's important. You know, one of the biggest regrets, I don't like the word regrets too much, but one of the biggest regrets I have with this, I tell people all the time, is trying to get explainers to come on and him saying yes and me not doing it and him passing away. You understand? So when I see you put crazy there or you put super there, it's so important to me. I, as a man, can't stay up past 7, 8 o'clock in the night. But for you, I will, as the song goes, right? I come in there because to see crazy on that pavement and I see some young people.
Shut up, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Somebody said, oh, super lip sync. I say, hello, you pay?
Super lip sync.
And one super reach, step on up, grab that mic and go, ooh. You've already gotten your money's worth.
100% Ozy, 100 super lip sync.
Have that respect.
Super do enough in this world.
Disrespectful.
It's disrespectful. You know, I see him say in an interview recently, he asked him when he knew he was an artist. And he said, well, when I come out my mother's womb, he said, I take my first breath in the key of life. You know, so he didn't do it love by being born. He don't have to show. As a matter of fact, if you do Germany Junction 10 years from now and all Super do is come, we go pay to see him.
I want to do something with Sparrow Bad.
I would love to see that. So I think that the things need the support. Yeah. You know, I had a younger fellow, I would say. Again, you're my age, right? 45. He's 40, so that's young to me. But he, Adrian Schoon, he's the CEO of our events, and he does the soca events as well as Spirit Mass, right?
Yeah.
And I found it so encouraging to hear somebody like him say, how important the culture is to him, the traditional characters he doesn't have fed by the name of Mecca every Carnival Friday night, and he very, very connected to the culture.
Right.
But I was also very, very encouraged to hear him say, this had to be profitable. It had to make money. The commercial thing is there. And he said that the arts is where our competitive advantage is as a nation.
Right.
So I feel like as people who would have listened to this...
As a region, though.
Oh, well, of course, as a region, 100%. And so when you're doing things like this, I think people need to pay to do it. Because I see you, for instance, you might get somebody to pass through and then we pass a bucket and people put... That is noble, but I think people should pay every week, including myself, which I think you might be surprised.
There's no door, really.
That's the problem. So salute to Reyes and Akins and everybody, but there has to be a way that people pay to partake in this thing and a price that is published and that kind of thing. We can figure it out. Good. And wherever the GoFundMe is, let me know where it is. I'll get our contributors, our listeners will contribute it. I could guarantee that.
Sure.
Because we want to see it continue, especially because it's I consider myself a bridge. You know how long we trying to organize this? Me and you, I miss a day. You think but we figure it out because I feel it's important for people who young and now coming in this space. Like you say you're a hasty fella. Glad I meet you when I meet you. You say you're a hasty fella when you was young and it's important for you to still have that energy to be hasty to hear your story. It's critical, and you doing that same bridge work because before I see Crazy the Night, I see several artists who just trying. You know what I mean? And who and you see in the what is called self-actualization. When they grab that mic and they in
transform.
Completely. Me didn't know there was artists. I see them sit down there and who is this person? I see Levi Myers on night. I'm so glad to see him.
Yeah, and he and all did some new tracks.
Oh man.
First time ever. Man.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
Performed anywhere else, you know.
You know what I hear him say too? Like he come into terms with performing his father's music. He almost say it's something I never used to like to do. But you say, I love doing it now in tribute and honor to my father and Happy Myers, right? So you creating a space that people must pay for. I putting it out there, right? You know how to say it. People must pay for that. Whether it is through GoFundMe or pay by the door.
They do it like Squeezy Rank and go figure out some kind of QR code or something.
However, we must pay. It's too important to not pay for. So where you seeing it going in terms of the jam in the junction now? Where you feel is next?
I want to be careful in terms of, sometimes growth could sometimes go in the opposite direction, the vibe. But at the same time, the thing had to be at a certain kind of level where it could be fair, as I said, to the artist, to the bar owner, and to myself. Mm-hmm. So somewhere inside of that, I'm thinking the brand could easily become something like this. Like radio.
I see.
TV and all. So that's down the road. Mm-hmm. But I want to... I was telling you, the ideas I had for season 3, which gonna have to be put off a little bit more because, as I said, we had to raise some funds.
Good.
Where each week is like question, right? So one of the first, so one of the first questions we had, suppose we still had Federation. Suppose Federation had worked. And then we start that, and then we actually engage people to answer that question. Actually, that's some footage already. Omari did a response. And then I say, let me deal with some music. So we deal with Sparrows. If you didn't want Federation, then we dealing with Caribbean Man.
Mm-hmm.
But then we dealing with the obscure one, which is Federation by Small Island Pride.
Okay.
Small Island Pride now. You know Mastifé, that's he's famous for that.
No, I don't know it at all.
Mastifé, meet me down by the Equaze. Cut out. Right. That's he's famous for that. But he have a bunch of other tracks and his flow is immaculate. He was the first rapper, but that's another story. Small Island Pride sang a tune about a Grenadian and a Vincentian having an argument, 2 women around the Federation. One saying, last night, she was with a Grenadian. Night before, she was with a Barbadian. She make a child for a Chinese man. And she say, bet your life that Federation. So she take it to the next level then.
That is what you call Federation.
That's what you call Federation. So it opens up the door now for a discussion generally of what happened. Going back to some of the old Kaisos, and asking the man on the floor, because actually what inspired that is like, we're talking red, yellow, green, blue. And I say, but what about the Caribbean, I mean, because I think that's wild thoughts again. If we had one answer to all the madness going on up the road, what that could have been? It could have failed, But
you wouldn't have these kind of problems.
That's what I said. I prefer talk about federation than talk about somebody back on going on.
Of course.
But going forward now, it's have things like, the question is, are we a kicks off country? And then I go deal with some comedy, humorous calypsos and spoiler and things like that. So it's going down in that sort of theme. So the Gandhi night was supposed to be, will still be, I ain't calling no name yet.
Good.
But Gandhi, as the most easily outpost back in the day, was where everybody used to end up. There's a big calypso called Arima tonight, Sangi Gandhi tomorrow night. A female stick player from Winnie live in Sangi Gandhi, that's Zanduli. So the Gandhi night will happen. He's a Gandhi man now, but
he's a Gandhi man.
Yeah.
All right, I'll listen. So but from my memory, some of the artists, you know how to tell you who your book, right? But Grandy's are, they have some special places, like this book you walk with today, right? Trinidad has some special places. Grandy's one. You're talking Ozy Merrique, you're talking Scrunter, you're talking Poser, you're talking this young fella, the Kutain, who to me is a genius. You're talking Treason and M1. Yeah, so
the name of you.
Yeah, and Sapari is a place like that, Tobago of energy. Yeah. So your idea going forward at Jam in the Junction is to spot a theme. I love the Federation theme.
Yeah.
Because your theme goes far beyond the artists that you invite. Like you say, you put a lot of thought into this damn thing in Ozy. I want to sing your praises a little bit, right? God, listen to the music.
Some people just feel it's
you just show up. It's because you run up and down plenty. It look like you're hustling. It look like you're not organizing.
Yeah.
But the music you play as a DJ on a Federation night will be much more vast than the artists you could invite. Some of the artists not even here who would have talked about the Federation. Yeah. So I think it's worth the support. I love the idea of the themes, by the way. The first time it's something about that, I said, nah, boy. I had to, because I enjoy that drive from home trying to figure it out. I said, let me see where he go come with. I said, I know he go sing this, he go play that, he go play. And I was wrong every single time, including today. I was wrong every single time. When I feel I know thing,
I just understand sometimes. I don't know until I know. Until they tell me.
You say so, yeah.
That is what it is. It is what it is.
So we can expect to see some changes, but we know Jam in the Junction coming back.
It's the jam, and the vibe will always remain, and you're trying to maintain that. And what we're gonna do is beyond the jam and how you started the conversation, right? The jam bram is like the extension. So that has been happening by Kaiso Blues, Carl Jacobs spot. And we're gonna have that more than likely, being promoted as soon as we send all our information as well too. So the Jam Bram is where you pay to come in, and we're gonna have some artists. I'm talking to a couple of people. Yeah.
I can't wait. The answer could be yes.
Yeah.
The obedience work out, you know. The obedience work out.
Yeah, talking to a couple of people, you know.
Good.
Yeah, boy.
And Jam Bram we're gonna pay by the door.
Yes, Jam. No tickets. No, we have a link for tickets too.
Good.
We have a link for tickets too. Again, up to the time, finally.
Yeah, good. You saying up to the time, but you're so far ahead of your time. I was watching an interview with you the other day, and you say you had done paintings as the ticket to entry to an event. You had done pieces. So you say when you buy the piece, that is your entry.
Yeah. Something I want to do as well too.
Mm-hmm.
But then that ticket might be $700 now, so we can.
People paying thousands of dollars to go to people pay
art.
Yeah.
Itself is, so I had to find a way to, I'm thinking I might actually do original print so that every ticket is an original print of an art. For me to sit down and paint 100 tickets for $50. No. Sorry.
You say original print, that jersey you're wearing, that's your thing?
Yeah, it's one of my prints here.
What is it of? To break it down for me.
This was the original Adoptionation face. It's an exhibition I did a couple of years back, and I was using this as the main promotion. So it's like basically my face with inlaid art.
Right.
So you like to kind of step back to see it, really. But, but we also have the Homefront t-shirts. and a couple other original prints as well too.
Yeah.
You know, generally, Ozy Merrique, RRIQE or anything galvanized oriented on all platforms.
I forget to ask you that. Wait. We had to go back. Hold on. I was going to wrap up, but before I get it, where did galvanized come from?
I just like the idea of the flying galvanized. You know this? The myth.
I don't.
The myth of flying galvanized?
No.
Boy, that was like worse than the boogeyman. Because growing up country and thing, they say do not stick your head out the window during any hurricane or big storm and thing. Because it had a time in 1946, a man did stick his head out the window and a piece of galvanized fly off from the roof next door and cut off his neck clean. Visually, at 4 years old, 5 years old, you seeing that.
Hey, hold on to that.
Flying galvanized, wherever. So, any little small breeze splash, you inside, so you not venturing by that window at all. So, some people know about the reference. So, flying galvanized disco, it come out from that kind of light-hearted reference to that story, Old Wives' Tale or whatever. And it started off as being a sound system, kind of borrowing from the sound system culture, but this time is based on, let me say, roots rap, so and local vibes, yeah? And that's how we do, like, it wasn't even supposed to be like 100.
Right.
Just even for like a 70-30. Where we still play some popular urban style tunes, but it set up like a sound system, flying galvanized disco. The thing is, I could hold my own on our ones and twos after a little while. I get rusty now. But it was also always supposed to be a two-man job now.
Right.
The MC and the selector. Never find a selector to commit. So, but then I say I go bring back the name because it's still, even like you do the mixes and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So flying galvanized disco, and then galvanized because of what the name means to now is also to kind of spark movement. Yeah, to create that spark that will grow into something bigger.
Good.
So I think that's what I do. So galvanized gallery refers to the shop, the store, the works, and the flying galvanized disco is who putting on the show and the musical arm of the thing. But galvanized, as I say, once you do flying galvanized or galvanized gallery or Ozy galvanized Merrique, on any platform, you should be able to have.
So that's all your platforms, Ozy galvanized Merrique. Primarily,
there's artist Ozy Merrique too, but as I say, I tell people it's not hard to find nobody if you really want to find them.
Well, you proved that.
Yes, I didn't even have that back in the day. Like,
if you had that, you kill people.
Yeah, what? People dead.
And correct spelling of Ozy is Ozy. Ozy Merrique, right? On all platforms. Ozy galvanized Merrique. That's how I find you on Instagram as well.
This is what I said.
Yeah. So listen, we're looking forward to where you come back with. Wherever you come back with, you have our full support. I'm talking on behalf of everybody who take this in. You have it. And we will figure out how to get the support done virtually for those who can't be here in person.
Exactly.
Don't forget Sister Run, say, next time you do a thing, she could be here in person.
Sister Run, man, and he started singing this song, yeah? Sister Run, boy, it was just a glitch in the matrix because I called, actually, she am telling that part. I called her and tell her about the show. And then something come up and we had to put off the show. And then she said, oh, Shem's boy, she was leaving the following
she couldn't
week. Right. But it turns out she might have been here, but then we had to go on with the show because I thought she wasn't already gone.
Gotcha. Well, these things just happen. The truth about it is, judging from the response from her episode, people want to see she and General Grant do that song. You know what I mean? So we had to make that.
Well,
happen.
Let's make that happen.
All right, good. Confirmed.
Jam Bram, we might have to bring both of them from the States, huh?
Oh yeah, boy. Look at that, boy. Look at life.
Do you have any links with Caribbean Airlines?
Well, what we might have to do is do it in the States. You know what I mean? You have any links with tariffs and so on?
The guy, Gavin, was on Party Time. CEO of Caribbean Airlines.
Was that Party Time, man? Gavin Medina?
Yes. Yeah, she's not taking my calls.
All right, well, maybe
But,
lip syncing still.
How'd it be? Gavin, let's talk.
Yeah, Gavin, let's talk. We have things to talk. We have things to advance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Two little ticket, you can bring down Lisa and all too.
oh, yeah,
Lisa
boy,
live
it's
in
true,
New
it's true, it's true to the home front.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you'll make it happen.
Must happen.
Listen, we're looking forward to everything that you do now. Thanks very much. I appreciate you coming through. We're trying to do this for a while. I tell you, I tell you, lady back behind the scenes, right? I booked the wrong date. Then when I call him, I say, boy, I booked the wrong damn time. I booked it at 8 o'clock in the morning. All kind of thing going wrong.
Yeah.
But you and the OBL had to work, it is work, right?
Had to work.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming through.
Nah,
This
it
was
was
nice.
nice.
This was a great conversation. And only look for the rest of painting and then look for the rest of smalls because this one go.